Good evening. Welcome to the November 27th Lebanon City Council meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call roll, please.
Mike Kincaid.
Present.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Morris Jones.
Here.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
John Copeland is absent this evening. Britt Wheat
Present.
and Sierra Messenger. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to, actually, can I have a motion from council to take the agenda out of order? Yes, sir. Yes. Consent? Okay, we have a representative from the Shalom House here tonight. There was a food and beverage request meeting that happened after the agendas went out, so I apologize if we missed that with the shortened week due to Thanksgiving. So I didn't know who was here.
You can come on up for Shalom House.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Williams. I'm the Executive Director for the Lebanon Community of Shalom, doing business as Shalom House. We are a homegrown, here in Boone County, 501c3 nonprofit. We are volunteer-based, and we do not receive any government funding. We are very excited that we are celebrating our 20th anniversary of serving the Lebanon community this year. We serve the Lebanon community with two different food programs. We have our Shalom Hot Meals program, which is served twice a week, every Tuesday from 5 to 7, every Saturday from 11 to 1, and we also serve the last Thursday of the month from 5 to 7. Anyone with a need can come and get a hot, ready-to-eat community meal. We do carry-outs, we do curbside, we do dine-ins, and we also do deliveries. Our delivery program is quite large right now. We deliver 80 meals every Tuesday and 80 meals every Saturday to homebound folks located here within the city limits of Lebanon. Most of the referrals for these people have come from Witham Hospital, Social Services, and other agencies here in the community. The people that are on this list are over 65, they don't have any transportation, or they have an illness or a disability that doesn't allow them to get out and about. Last year we served over 21,000 meals from the Shalom House. Our second program is our Shalom Kids Sack Lunch program. It runs 14 weeks of the year when public schools close for the week. We service all three school communities here in Boone County, so that's Lebanon, Western Boone, and Zionsville. We have 8 distribution sites that are located in the cities throughout the county, with 3 being located here, 3 distribution sites. Every Monday for the week that school's closed, we distribute meals. Parents and the kids can come pick up a bag, and it contains 5 entrees, 5 snacks, 5 fruits and vegetables, with 2 or 3 of them being fresh. And then they also receive a milk voucher as well as a new book so that they can take home. The people that we're targeting at this program are kids that are getting free breakfast and free lunch at public school, but then when they're home for the week, they are kind of food insecure because that's 2 extra meals, and if you're serving them to the family might have multiple children, that's quite the financial burden for them to be able to feed the kids three meals a day for the week. And then of course summer is 10 weeks straight, which is a huge burden. Last year we served over 5,000 kids, over 25,000 lunches and breakfasts here in Boone County. This year, our need has increased, so we've seen an increase in demand for both programs, 25% increase in the Kids Sack Lunch program, and we last Tuesday hit our all-time high as far as of meals that we were able to serve on Tuesday, which was 353 meals in a 2-hour time period. With the increase of the demand and then, of course, the increase in costs of food, our budget has been well exceeded for this year. So we appreciate all of the support and help that the City of Lebanon has given us in the past, and we would definitely appreciate any support you could give us now.
Lisa, Brent?
Yeah, the Food and Beverage Committee met with Lisa last Wednesday, and as she explained, they're seeing a tremendous increase in the need, and their budget has not necessarily increased as such. I would also say they're always looking for in-kind donations, monetary donations, and they need people, a lot of people to help serve and carry out their programs. How can people find out more about doing that, Lisa?
Oh, they can definitely they can email me, or they can call the Shalom House, and we can get you guys set up. Usually, on a Tuesday or Saturday, it takes 6 to 8 people to serve a meal at the Shalom House. Tuesday nights, you arrive at 3:45, you leave at 7:30, and then on Saturdays, you arrive at 9 and you leave at 1:30.
So, great program. I don't think it needs a lot of introduction with the council. As a group, we've helped serve there before. It's one of those programs we really like. It helps local people. It's a local organization. Everything is done here in Lebanon. So the Food and Beverage Committee agreed unanimously. We'd like to make a recommendation for $1,500 from the Food and Beverage Subcommittee Fund.
Any initial comments or questions for Lisa from the council? Okay, I would entertain a motion then.
I'll second it.
I need a motion. Oh, you
Oh,
made a
sir.
He
motion?
made the motion.
You made the
You
motion,
made
I'm
the
sorry.
motion.
And I'll second it.
Second from Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Sorry, you snuck it in. Let me catch it there. Okay. Thank you very much, Lisa, and thank you for all you do for our community as well.
Thank you
Yeah, I'd
so
like
much.
to comment too, Lisa, you do a great job, and the council has helped out there before, and the Lebanon Kiwanis Club, and anybody who's never done that, it's a very rewarding experience to serve on that, to serve the meals and so forth. Thank you.
It is, thank you.
Okay, consent to return to our agenda.
Liquid.
Good.
I do want to say, too, for the people watching at home, we've had some businesses locally in Lebanon that come and they'll pick a day to help serve, or they'll give, if they can give monetary value, they will donate. But that goes to all the businesses here in Lebanon. Hopefully, if you guys can do anything, they're really, in need of extra funding and stuff this year. So if you can give, we would appreciate it. So just passing that along.
Tara, well said. Okay, I'll return to old business here. First item up is the financial commitment letter for the NDOT grant application concerning Noble Street reconstruction.
Park and Abner Longley Park. And so we're looking at a reconstruction of that would help to better tie those parks together with some traffic calming measures between the two parks to slow traffic down, formalize the entrance into the former Conservation Club site into the north side of Abner Longley Park, and provide trail connections into the Big Four and out to Indianapolis Avenue, as well as upgrading all curb, sidewalks, drainage, other utility infrastructure in the corridor. So before you tonight is a financial commitment letter for that project. The developed budget for the project as it stands right now is $16,416,800. That's all engineering, right-of-way, utilities, construction inspection expenses associated with the project. This would be for fiscal year 2029, so that would be a potential letting as earliest it could be would be July of 2028, but most likely this is for construction in 2029. We are proposing roughly, the minimum is an 80% or 20% match to 80% federal dollars. We are actually proposing a 70-30 split to be a little bit more competitive here. And that 70% split, when you subtract out utilities, which we believe all utility relocations would be covered by the utility companies, primarily Lebanon Utilities, and then splitting 70-30, the preliminary engineering, right-of-way engineering, construction costs, and then us covering construction inspection, we're looking at a financial commitment that would be $6,796,910. Again, roughly 58.6% of the total $16,416,800 on the total project. So what I'm asking for tonight is this, the approval and the execution of a letter committing to that funding match for that project for fiscal year 2029.
So I'd say a couple things.
You can always, you could reject the initial award if you were to be given the award. You could reject that and not go to contract with NDOT. In fact, you can go as far as all the way up to letting, after letting, when they open bids, and then they'll send you basically an invoice for your match requirement for construction, and you could refuse to pay that and cancel the project. So there are outs through and along the way. Of course, the further along you go, you would be talking about funding, preliminary engineering, possibly right-of-way buying. Those would happen in, engineering would primarily happen in 25, 26. Right-of-way buying would be in 26, 27. So those are things that expenses you would be sharing in along the way, but those could be, the project could be canceled at a later date if you really
And
want
also,
to.
just by us submitting the letter, doesn't necessarily guarantee that we get the grant either. There's,
No,
I mean, we've
no,
submitted
this
before
is
and
just
not.
the game we play. This funding, notice of funding availability opens up in early November every year, closes out usually the 1st of December. Last year we submitted Witt Road from Lafayette Avenue, from
Austin
Lafayette
Drive.
Avenue to just north of Austin Drive. We also submitted Grant Street Phase 2. We thought we were improving our odds by submitting both projects. We did not expect us to win both, but we did win both projects last year. And I think we won those because we were competitive in pledging more than the minimum matches to those projects, the minimum 20% match.
Questions, discussions?
Yeah, a couple of things real quick. I like that we're going to do some kind of traffic, I forget what the term was, between the two parks down there. I know in talking to folks down there, that's very important to them. So given we're talking 6 years down the road, if there's any other traffic control devices to maybe slow folks down, make it safer to cross between the two parks, before that happens, that would be wonderful. But I think that's an important part of this project. The other thing, I followed the Luminous email trail today. Councilman Robertson had a great question. There's a lot of utilities, especially toward the east end, where we get to Noble Street, or I'm sorry, where we get to Indianapolis Avenue. I mean, that's all figured into this, or is that going to?
Primarily, what we're trying to do is the utility poles, because these are primarily transmission poles, we are not planning to relocate those or bury those. That cost would be astronomically higher if we were trying to bury those. So primarily, we're talking about small or no relocation of utility poles and placing those within that tree lawn that will be established.
What about
which is basically
drainage?
where they're at right now. Drainage would be underground, creating a storm sewer system that would properly drain the street. It really doesn't drain properly right now. There's little to no storm sewer system in that area. The other thing that this would do is that we would tie the drainage of the street into Hot Pond, or probably more appropriately into the old Conservation Club pond, and be able to more stabilize that pond. If you were to go out to Conservation Club right now, that pond is probably about 4 foot below where we'd like it to be. It's been a very dry fall, and it's down. As it went down, interestingly enough, you don't see any pipes coming into or going out of that pond, which we were hoping we might see that with this dry condition, but it doesn't exist. So what
And
this
it's
would
not
allow.
spring-fed, despite
Right.
people's thoughts.
It's a hole in the
not.
ground.
It's just holds water.
Rainwater.
Yeah, it's really just a low spot that collects water. So what we would be able to do is by basically directing the runoff from the street to that pond, we would be able to stabilize and normalize that pond elevation, and then create an outlet location for that as well. So as that water comes into the pond, we'd be able to maintain that elevation before discharging it into, there's a legal drain that runs just south of that pond that kind of bisects the south half of Abner Longley Park that we would most likely tie into, just south of the new water storage tank.
Kevin, there's parts of that Noble Street seem pretty narrow. What's the right-of-way that you're trying to achieve there? What's the width?
The right-of-way would vary, so I'd have to get more into the details of that to show you what we're looking at. That was part of the voluminous email chain today, was kind of discussing that, and why aren't we building a path through the entire corridor? And really what we found is that if we were trying to squeeze a 10-foot path through the entire corridor, we were going to be pushing right-of-way limits so close close to houses, and because of grading transitions and things of that nature, there were a couple of homes that we would have had to buy the entire home. And we really don't want to be in that situation. So primarily from 39 to the Hot Pond area, we're just doing a 4-foot tree lawn and a 5-foot sidewalk on either side of the street. And we're building 22 foot of asphalt, plus a 2.5-foot curb and gutter on either side of that 22-foot. And then as we go east of the park entrance, there is enough room on that south side for us to pick up a 10-foot path and extend that out to Indianapolis Avenue. That path would also extend down the park entrance and connect to the Big Four. So if you were to walk along the Big Four that parallels the Fordyce Street east of East Street, you would be able to jog up to Noble Street, take that over to Lafayette or to Indianapolis Avenue, and then you could walk down that sidewalk down to the path on Hendricks Drive, and again back up and create a loop there around the park system.
Kevin, do you know what the status is of the water and sanitary lines down through there? What, have they been upgraded lately, or do they, what kind of condition, is that something that we should consider if we're
There
going to do
were sanitary
this much work?
upgrades in that general vicinity a couple years ago to eliminate some overflows that they were seeing in that area. But I'm not for certain on what other infrastructure upgrades Lebanon Utilities would need in that area. But again, we would have roughly 5 years to work with them on making sure whatever utility upgrades are needed, that's in their capital asset plan.
Just thinking if we're going to do this much work, we might as well
Oh, absolutely.
look at
That's
upgrade
always part of
everything
it.
over there, so we don't have to go back.
Yeah, always part of any project.
Yeah, are we going to try to consider street lights down through there too?
Absolutely. We would be doing street trees and decorative street lighting.
Okay.
Yep, another complete street project. Yep. Any other questions? Okay, so motion to approve the financial commitment letter is kind of what we're looking for?
Yep, and if it's good as stands, then I would like to get your signatures before you leave the room, if we can, because this letter needs to go into a grant application that's due on Friday.
Okay,
Make the motion, we approve the financial commitment letter.
we have
Second.
a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, council. Okay, that concludes what I have for old business. Anything from council?
No, sir.
Okay, new business then. Next will be a financial commitment letter for County Road 300 North reconstruction.
Thank you. So, similar project here, County Road 300 North, and you might have saw this in my my update as well at the Board of Works meeting, but what we're looking at here is actually a partnership that is outlined in this financial commitment letter between us and the IEDC, which is another agenda item, a memorandum of understanding related to the funding of this project. So similarly, this is for the reconstruction of County Road 300 North from State Road 39 west to the intersection of Witt Road. So this project includes really, we're looking at this project on a two-phase approach. So this is really looking at phase one, which eventually, the full build-out of this project, as we've seen in previous presentations, is a 4-lane boulevard cross-section, including upgrades at the CSX Railway, as well as a roundabout at Witt Road and other intersection improvements at State Road 39. So this would just be phase one. So what that would look at doing is targeting the westbound or northern 2 lanes of that eventually 4-foot lane cross-section. So it would build those 2 lanes, it would demolish the existing 2 lanes, it would build a roundabout at Witt Road, it would do at-grade signal crossing upgrades at the CSX right-of-way, as well as then intersection improvements, traffic signal at State Road 39. Phase 2 then would come in and build the south 2 lanes or the eastbound 2 lanes to eventually get you to a 4-lane cross-section that we've been discussing. So again, this is County Road 300 North from Witt Road or County Road 150 West east to State Road 39. The total project cost of Phase 1 only is $15,561,000. Again, to be competitive, the balance of the matching funds looks at about a 50-50 split, requiring local match funds of $7,844,800. And part of this letter is also, as I mentioned, describing the arrangement between the IEDC and the City of Lebanon to cover those local match funds on behalf of the City of Lebanon. And as I mentioned, there's a separate agenda item for you to consider, which is an MOU that outlines that financial commitment from the IEDC to us. But for the purposes of this grant application, through the same funding, notice of funding availability as the Noble Street project, we have to enter into a financial commitment on behalf of the city. So again, for a $15,561,000 project for the Phase 1 reconstruction of County Road 300 North from Witt Road to State Road 39 with a local 49.6% match share of $7,844,800.
So to clarify too, the caveats from the Noble Street would apply to this as well.
Yes, same caveats, and those caveats are even further enumerated within that MOU that is also on your packet of agenda items for this evening.
Questions on this from the council?
What's the timeline on that 300 North?
The same timeline. This is also for fiscal year 2029.
I thought those roads were going to be done a lot earlier than that.
You know, we had discussed that, and there's an existing MOU that does outline a commitment that the IEDC and/or NDOT would reconstruct that road a year after the opening of the new interchange. There's some caveats in there depending on where that new interchange final location is decided, but that was in that original MOU. So this is kind of going back and amending that, or at least this new MOU would be amending that. But I think at that time, it was unclear exactly how the 300 North project would be delivered. At that time, I think it was the assumption of at least of myself, I guess I should only speak for myself, that NDOT would be reconstructing 300 North all the way to State Road 39. And you might remember me talking about that I was optimistic that that would happen because the NDOT environmental study for the interchange project included the 300 North corridor all the way to and including the intersection of State Road 39. So we were hopeful, and you've even seen probably some of the NDOT exhibits that show future phases or additional phases for the interchange project. So I think at the time, that is my understanding of why we left that commitment vague and said that NDOT and/or IEDC would be reconstructing that, as we really thought NDOT would be continuing the interchange project all the way to 39.
It also complicates it a little bit as well because NDOT has approached us about relinquishing State Road 39 to the city, and then that would require a new connection for 39 from 65. So that's another factor here that kind of, again, this is a fairly unique set of circumstances that we're kind of considering with this. I mean, it's a financial commitment letter, but really there's no financial commitment from the actual citizens of Lebanon towards this project.
Yeah,
So
I can't stress that enough, that this document, as well as the MOU, working together in concert, would not burden the city of Lebanon or its citizens with any financial commitment. These financial commitments for all phases of the project would be made by the IEDC if we are successful in obtaining the federal grant.
And also I'll point out too, as we mentioned on Noble Street, sometimes communities say, hey, we're not ready for this project, delay it. It happened with us on Grant Street, right? That project got delayed. That was a federal project. NDOT sometimes ends up with this pots of money that are, hey, this is for fiscal year, X, right? So if this project's ready to go, it can move forward.
Right.
So if the IDC is pushing, so the grant money can be shifted around with between NDOT's projects. So to your point, 2029 delivery sounds like a long time away. There could be potential though that could move forward because either when it's becoming a state highway itself, or also there's now funds available because someone else didn't do their project, and so it can shift up in the time frame as well, too.
I think the mayor's right, and the hope would be is that you get these funds locked up on the federal level. So they are dedicated towards a project in this road corridor. There may be other funds that would come available, other projects that we could work in cooperation with to make that happen in different ways. And we would still have the ability to do that. The mayor's right. You're frequently asked by NDOT, are you still on schedule to deliver your 2027, 2026 money projects on that schedule? And there's frequently no repercussions if you say, we'd like to push it off a year. We did that on Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2. We moved around the schedule of Grant Street, actually moved the Grant Street project up. And we are hopeful here that we could possibly move this project up. A couple of reasons why. One, the environmental study for the NDOT project is already underway for this corridor, and so there is some duplication of that work that possibly could be eliminated or at least could be fast-tracked. The other thing that would be a factor here is that we've got development projects on the north side of 300 from the railroad tracks east of 39 that will already be dedicating the right-of-way that would be needed to build the project. West of there, the IEDC controls the majority of the land. So again, the right-of-way acquisition process, which can sometimes take up to 2 years, could be drastically streamlined and expedited given the players at the table in that corridor. So there could be a real possibility that we can expedite environmental document preparation, we can expedite right-of-way buying, and we could be going to NDOT and through what they would call an exchange program to basically they would. It's what happens when, say, a community needs to delay a project. Well, that fund is already programmed for that fiscal year. So when someone delays a project, they're really looking at trying to switch to another fiscal year's funding source. So if we were ready ahead of time, and projects always get delayed, we could possibly jump in line and utilize someone else's money, and they in turn would utilize our money for other projects.
So I can see them wanting to get 300 completed with, kind of match up to the completion of the interchange on 65.
Yeah, I mean, it
Sometime in
was
27.
always expected it would be a year behind, possibly 2 years, given the size and scale of the project. So that would probably put us into, so the interchange is expected to open by the end of 2026. So we were possibly looking at a 27, 28 project, and now we're looking at a 29 project that, as we've just discussed, through the exchange program, because of the abilities to expedite the project, may be able to happen on that same corridor, on that same time frame. But I can't guarantee you that that exchange program would be available to us, or that we would be ready on that expedited timeline that we've discussed. But those are opportunities that are available to us.
Well, Kevin, what's the advantage of doing this in 2 phases?
I think really the only reason why we aren't doing this in 1 phase is, you can see the numbers here, we're at a $15 million project. To do it in 1 phase would be roughly, say, a $30 million project, actually probably a little bit more than that. And I think the problem is I want to say there's roughly 160 to 200 million a year that's put into this program by the feds for the state of Indiana. So for us to try to claim $30 million of that program is probably highly unlikely we would be successful.
In addition to Noble Street as well, too, by the way.
So we would then, essentially we would be here this time next year getting ready for a Phase 2 application that would set up this to go in the following year after the Phase 1 project is.
It also would allow kind of traffic just to continue more or less normally, right? Because they would build a new road essentially, and then and then be able to flip the traffic, right? So they're going to have opposing traffic when the first phase is built, and they can build the Phase 2, and then open it up, and then we've got 2 lanes each direction.
To be honest, that would be the way I would choose to build the project. However we were delivering the project would be to build the 2 new westbound lanes in the area north of the existing pavement. And then once that is then, you put the traffic over there and tear out the other lanes and build the south or the.
Minimize the
east.
interruptions and allows the corridor to stay open.
Yeah. I mean, in this time frame, we're going to see a lot of increased traffic. Spring Creek, the Spectra apartment project, the Lennar townhome project, potential retail site at the northwest corner of the intersection of 39 and 300. So traffic is going to continue, as it always does, to increase in this corridor. So definitely, if we were approaching this project, I think we'd want to build it in 2 phases, the first one being offline.
Kevin, I kind of wanted to go down the road that Councilman Kincaid was going, just so I can wrap my head around this. So, and I get that there'll be a lot of points where we can stop this and say, we don't want to do this, or things have changed. I get that. But with the new interchange of 52 and 65, at least my latest understanding, and that's a moving target, it'll be north of there. So if they want to tie in 52 and 65 to 39, how does this all work itself
I
out?
probably glossed over the Phase 2 project a little bit, so you're right. The new interchange goes roughly at, say, 325, if there were a 325, halfway between 300 and 375. And that will include a roundabout at that intersection of the new interchange and Witt Road. Phase 1 is the roundabout at Witt and 300, and the western-bound lanes, the north side lanes. And then Phase 2 would be the southbound lanes and the reconstruction of that piece of Witt Road from the roundabout at 300 to the roundabout at the new interchange. So that is also part of the Phase 2 project.
So say if the city takes over 39, would the state route, and I know this is theoretical, 300 north, which would now be 39, west to Witt Road, which would then go back north to a roundabout to 6552?
It could, initial conversations with NDOT about the relinquishment of 39, they had actually envisioned relinquishing 39 south of 47. So everything south of 47 would become a city and or county road, and they would just reroute the 39 traffic onto 47 over to the interchange of 65.
We weren't wild about that proposal of all the way to 47, so there's ongoing discussions, and they also kind of lowballed us initially on the first offer, so there's a lot of discussions concerning relinquishment, so that's really, I just mentioned it just because it's a factor, but it's not a driving force yet. We're still pretty far apart on that.
Yeah.
I guess my overarching question is, and again, I don't want to delay this, but are we getting ahead of ourselves until we know where that new interchange is going to be? Or
No, we know where the new interchange is going to be at this point. They
Okay.
they have locked in their preferred choice, and they are moving through the preliminary design process, the environmental process on that
So it's
chosen.
happening?
It's happening.
Okay.
It's happening. The location is chosen. The geometry of it is chosen. There's some small tweaks in design that you will see happening over the next, say, year. Before they're ready to bid this project roughly a year from now.
Okay.
As they go into the 2025 construction season, to start construction in '25 to deliver a new interchange by the end of '26.
But as presented, right, it would just be an exit off onto a local road. There wouldn't be any state highway exit there, right? It'd just
Right.
be
It would be a new interchange. It's technically a relocation of the 52 and 65 interchange to 325 north.
Yeah.
And the other end of that, one side is 52, the other side is a local road.
Okay. And one final thing that doesn't specifically apply to this, but the roads out there are completely falling apart, if we've all been out there. Can you, for our audience, just kind of talk about kind of what we're going to be doing? And I say we, the collective, we, all these agencies that we're all now partnered with.
Yeah. In
But
fact,
this is a long way down the road. Until we get to that point, kind of general principles of what's going on.
yeah, this is part of, of my updates, my engineering update to the Board of Works. So I'm just pulling up that file on the status of the LEAP District road improvements. So a lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of reconstruction. Unfortunately, a lot of the reconstruction was delayed for county approvals, or we would be in a better spot as we're getting into winter here. But to be honest, the team at the IEDC, Pure Development, and Milestone have really pulled off a lot of construction in a short window. Witt Road North, or County Road 150 West North, they poured the bridge a little over a week ago. They've already paved south and north of that bridge all the way up to 47. Base asphalt is in, and they're expected to have base asphalt up to the new bridge by December 22nd and be able to open that to traffic. That's Witt Road North. County Road 375 North, they're working on replacing a box culvert. Unfortunately, the project has been significantly delayed by utility pole relocations that have not happened in a timely manner. We're still dealing with our friends at Comcast and AT&T to get those poles out of the middle of the road. They're literally in the middle of the road as the new road bed sits and has been constructed, and that has delayed the paving of that project, or it would have been paved by now. So hopefully we get those poles out of the way, but right now we're tentatively saying that 375 road is not going to open to through traffic until the spring of next year. Milestone is still working on the utility locations, still working at contingency plans to put some temporary pavement in place for winter use by the local residents, but that is the status of 375. County Road 300 North, we've been doing the widening at US 52. That is that eastern-bound closure that currently exists. I'd say within 2 weeks, that pavement will be complete, and they'll be able to open that closure, and then working on the traffic signal. Similar at 39, the widening of 39 is complete, and they're working on installing the traffic signal as we speak, and I'd say within 2 weeks or so, that traffic signal, the stoplight, should be up and running. The Eastern Bypass Road has been graded and storm sewer installed. Base layers of asphalt are complete. It is not tied into 375 because of the utility delays on that project. And then 450 North is scheduled for widening and paving in the spring of 2024, but it is currently open in its current state as a gravel road. I'm also told that within the next couple of weeks, we will see plans filed for the reconstruction of Witt Road South from the new interchange up to 375, and that will be for spring construction as well. So really, they're trying to get 375 open and 450 and North Witt Road open for construction traffic, so then they can close off South Witt Road and reconstruct that area. So,
Thank you.
yep.
I have a question for you about the utilities on 300.
Okay.
How are they going to move all those?
Same way we always do. The question we'd have to ask ourselves is, are we going to pay to bury utilities, or are we just going to relocate poles within the right-of-way? I think we're proposing roughly 140-foot right-of-way through 300, so there'd be plenty of room to find locations for overhead utilities if we want to keep them there. And certainly relocating overhead lines within the same corridor is a much more cost-effective way to do things than to look at burying lines that can be extremely expensive, because the municipality would have to cover the cost, or someone would have to cover the cost of burying utilities.
That's that new housing development's going in there.
The new housing development is already considering that 140-foot right-of-way dedication, so not worried about what we would need to do there.
Okay.
They will be building outside of that area.
Kevin, we're talking about phase one of 300. How soon would you apply for phase two?
We would be applying this time next year. The call for funding availability only comes open it's usually around the 1st of November and usually closes around the 1st of December.
Now, what do you think our odds are that with two big projects like this, that we would get two big
I don't know,
I can see which one's going to get priority, okay? And that's okay, okay? But I also see the idea that we need to get ours on in front of somebody.
Yeah.
So they know that this is coming down the road, and somewhere down the line,
Yeah. I mean, we're having
we're gonna
conversations.
we're gonna want some help for this road.
Right.
So-
We're having conversations with the state, with NDOT, I would say at least on a monthly basis about the projected traffic coming at us for projects like Lilly, for our future projects that may be included and may be announced in the future in the LEAP district. We've been voicing those concerns and saying we're going to need help. We were talking about the relinquishment of 39, we're talking about 300 North, we're talking about the interchange project, we're talking about other projects that really we aren't even involved in, like widening and relocation of State Road 32 west of town. So there's a lot of those conversations about what traffic is going to look like in and around Lebanon and how the state can help us relieve some of that burden as we move forward.
You haven't forgot that one discussion you and I had about the bypass on the east side yet, have you?
That eastern bypass is still in our thoroughfare plan and still something that we want to keep on our radar.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments for Kevin?
No, sir.
Okay. So probably best to approve the commitment letter and MOU pending legal review. Is that fair to say? The first. Okay. Okay. So with that, we'll entertain a motion concerning to approve the financial commitment letter concerning County Road 300 North.
I'll make a motion, we approve the letter for the federal funding for County Road 300 North improvements from Wet Road to State Road 39.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Do you want to approve the MOU as well, Rob, or pending? Okay.
I should also introduce, Scott Alexander is in the room with the IEDC, if there are questions for him about the MOU. I think I've probably discussed it enough that you don't need any more feedback from me. But yes, the request at hand would be to approve the MOU, subject to legal review, and authorize the mayor to execute that document once it is received legal approval. And our plan would be that document would be executed prior to the submittal of the federal grant on Friday.
Any questions on that? Doesn't have to be? Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't have to be, but I would feel better knowing we have at least a good understanding, if not an executed document, prior to making that federal submittal.
Okay, would entertain a motion then to approve the proposed memorandum of understanding with the IADC concerning 300 North, pending final legal review and authorizing the mayor to sign on our behalf.
So move.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Morris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. All right, next up will be Resolution 2023-36 concerning cold storage incentives. Claire?
Good evening, Claire Jelinas with the Boone County Economic Development Corporation. We are contracted with the city to be your economic development arm and act as the liaison between the city and the private entity too, and to guide them through the incentive process and just walking them through the public hearing process also. Today I'm joined with Leslie Wagner from Genovis and Adam Ashley with U.S. Cold Storage 2. So the resolution in front of you today outlines the real and personal property incentive recommendation from U.S. Cold Storage for a potential 60,000 square foot building expansion at their property off of Mount Zion Road in the Lebanon Business Park. U.S. Cold Storage has been a part of the community since 2008, and this will be their second expansion in the community, which I think speaks highly of the city's way of doing business, and I think says a lot about the community that they're in too. Currently, they serve 99 employees at their current facility, and they are also locally involved through monetary donations and volunteer work. I know that they've had a really good partnership with the Lebanon Fire Department. They've provided equipment for them all, and then they've also hosted other training sessions too at their facility. I think it's been about 4 training sessions now, so I think that's been a really good partnership for the community. With this potential expansion for the community, it will create 30 new full-time jobs with average wages of $30 an hour. The investment project for this would be approximately $38 million, which will equate to about $3.3 million of property tax levy for the city and for Boone County. So the resolution in front of you outlines a twofold incentive recommendation, the first one being a 5-year real property tax abatement. Year 1 is 80%, year 2 is 70%, year 3 is 65%, year 4 is 60%, and year 5 is 55%. The other piece of that is a 5-year personal property tax abatement recommendation. Year 1 is 75%, and then it's a 10% step down until you get to that year 5. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the project. US Cold is also here if you want to hear from them too.
Any discussions, questions for Claire?
No, sir.
Rob, can you read Resolution 2023-36? Yep.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Resolution 2023-36 is regarding certain real property tax abatement deductions for United States cold storage. Pursuant to Indiana law, this council may find that a particular area within the jurisdiction of the city is an economic revitalization area. The council adopted Resolution 08-03, a declaratory resolution on May 12th, 2008, pursuant to Indiana law that declared certain boundaries that are described in Exhibits A and B, an economic revitalization area. The council, after following appropriate procedures, took final action on it and established the economic revitalization area. United States Cold Storage, Inc., the applicant, has filed with this council a statement of benefits, which is your SB1 real property, and they also did the SB1 personal property that are attached as Exhibit C. As Claire indicated, the project includes construction of approximately 60,000 square foot expansion. The council has reserved the statements that have been filed with it and therefore finds as follows. The project will be located in an area which has been confirmed as an economic revitalization area. Based on the findings, the council makes the following, based upon the statements, the council makes the following findings. The estimate of $22,295,000 as the cost of new distribution equipment to be installed is reasonable for the project of this nature. The estimate of $16,099,498 as the cost of the improvements to be construction is reasonable. The estimate of retaining 99 employees and the hiring of 30 new individuals will be employed can reasonably be expected to result from this project. The estimate of $7,282,000 for the aggregate annual salaries of those individuals can be reasonably expected to result from this project. And the totality of the benefits is sufficient to justify the granting of the tax abatement. The statements submitted by this applicant are approved, and again, as indicated, the real property tax deductions will be for a 5-year period, 80% during year 1, 70% during year 2, 65% during year 3, 60% during year 4, and 55% during year 5, and this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you, Rob. Any further discussion, comments from council?
No,
I
sir.
was-
Oh, excuse me.
I was just going to say that I voted in favor of a lot of these abatements over the years, but as I've talked to my fellow council people, I don't feel like we're in a situation now where growth is in short supply around here. So nothing against cold storage, the EDC, or the city, but I don't support abatements as a matter of principle. So with that, I just wanted to say that before we took the vote.
I'll make a comment on that, is that a business that has been here for quite some time and has received tax abatements in the past and has chosen to expand should not be penalized because we think we've got enough growth to cover everything. We shouldn't be penalizing people who have been here and supporting. And if you want to bring up something about, not approving a tax abatement, wait on somebody new. That's my opinion.
I would agree with Mike. I mean, I think there's and Claire will tell you from my perspective as we negotiate these deals, I view them differently, right? As a company that's chose to, that's invest in Lebanon early, right, and continues to invest in Lebanon. I think that's a very different situation than a new company coming in. And also, if you look at the structure of this, right, this is not a standard tenure tax payment, right? I mean, this is an 80%, I mean, 80% is the cap or is the maximum the first year, right? So these are all negotiated individually, and I will tell you that the return on investment from the city's perspective of what is given out is very positive for the city. So this is not a, this is not a situation where we gave away the store essentially because we wanted to benefit the company already here, right? And this was a back and forth negotiation. This is a good deal for the city. This is new jobs paying $30 an hour. I mean, that's something that we want to see in Lebanon, right? I mean, we heard earlier of the Shalom House, right, of how many kids in Lebanon need, received free and reduced lunch, right? Again, how do we adjust that, right? We bring higher paying, better jobs to our community, right? And that's this here before us tonight. So I understand your perspective that, we want to stop giving out tax payments. That's a fine policy discussion to have. I think that's a longer conversation than just right here off the cuff. But I certainly think that's something we consider with companies looking to come to Lebanon. But again, I think there's a lot of value in companies that have made an investment in Lebanon, have been paying property taxes here, have been employing people here, paying good wages, that we see that we value that partnership, right? And I mean, we've done a very good job over the last 8 years, certainly, of showing Lebanon as a business-friendly community, and these economic development deals make sense for our citizens, and they're not cookie cutters, and they all make sense based on the user and what we're trying to attract. We certainly have become kind of a hub for this cold storage. Is fits in our kind of our food manufacturing, food supply chain space that we've targeted. So I understand where your comments from, and I have similar, I mean, I don't have discussions at city council meetings, but Claire and I have these back and forths as well. Every deal we look at, we have these discussions. Is this really worth it, right? And for me, again, just considering what New Coal does, the partnership they've had with the city, with our fire department, what they do supporting our local nonprofits, I still see value in them, and I think there's value in them continue expanding in this community. So that would be what I would say. Again, I completely understand where you're coming from. I'm in a similar position as well. But I think where we have to differentiate between an existing user and someone else coming in the future. Because also at some level too, our traditional Lebanon Business Park is more or less full at this point as well too, right? So really what we're considering are people that are expanding that have been in Lebanon. So if we want to have a discussion about shutting these off going forward, I think that's fair. That's a policy discussion we can have. But I don't think that it's appropriate tonight to say all of a sudden we're just going to stop, because I think we've worked this for a few, 6 months, 7 months now?
Easily, yeah,
Easily?
6 to 8 months,
Yeah, so this has been a long negotiation process. So this wasn't a rubber stamp type thing. This was a lot of back and forth. Again, I think you look at the wages, you look at the investment, it's a good ROI for the city. It's an expansion of an existing business. It makes sense. So, but again, you're all entitled to your votes, but.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything. The only thing I will say is we don't ever have this discussion, and I'm making a point. I believe the vote will probably be 6-1, and that's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, but I would urge this council and any follow-on council that I won't be part of to at least think about this. So that's all I wanted to say.
And our office is 100% open to having those conversations and understanding what the vision is for the community and what the negotiations look like too. So yeah, we definitely hear you, and we are willing to work with all of you. But don't discount your existing employers and the investment they've made locally also. And just the monetary donations and the volunteer work and the partnerships, those are of value.
Yep. Any further comments, discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, would entertain a motion then concerning Resolution 2023-36.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 2023-36.
Motion to approve. All in favor, or is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Sierra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
That is approved, 5-1. Next would be Resolution 2023-37.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Similar resolution, so I won't go through it verbatim, but Resolution 2023-37 is regarding certain personal property tax abatement deductions for United States cold storage. Again, related to the personal property tax deductions, the areas described in Exhibits A and B, and the Form SB1 personal properties on Exhibit C. Again, this council finds that the project will be located in an area which has been confirmed to be an economic revitalization area. This council finds that the estimate of $22,295,000, again, of the equipment to be installed is reasonable for the project of this nature. Similarly, the employment or retention of 99 employees and the hiring of 30 new additional individuals can reasonably be expected to result. And the estimate of $7,282,000 for the annual salaries of those individuals can reasonably be expected to result from it. And again, the totality of the benefits is sufficient to justify the granting of the personal property tax abatement. The Form SB1 is approved, and as Claire indicated, the 5 years for personal property will be 75% during year 1, 65% during year 2, 55% during year 3, 45% during year 4, 35% during year 5, and this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you, Rob. Any further discussion, comments from council?
No, sir.
Would entertain a motion then concerning Resolution 2023-37.
Resolution 2023-37.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Morris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Resolution passes 5-1. Okay, thank you, council. All right, that concludes those resolutions. Next will be ordinance 2023-45. The next, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Resolution 2023-39, this is the stormwater district bonds. Kevin.
Thank you very much. The stormwater district bonds are associated with the reconstruction of Fordyce Road. It's a full reconstruction from Grant Street east to John Bart Road with new water mains in cooperation with the water company, new storm sewers, curb, gutter, asphalt, a new trail on one side, a new sidewalk on the south side of the road, decorative lighting, and street trees. This also includes widening for turn lanes at the new Central Elementary School at the northwest corner of John Bart and Fordyce. The project then continues west from Grant Street to East Street, which includes the extension of the trail, replacement of sidewalks, replacement of curbs, and an asphalt wedge and leveling project, but is not a full depth reconstruction of the corridor like it is east of there. But it will provide for that trail connection to the East Street path, east out to the new elementary school for kids that may be walking, kids and their families that may be walking that corridor to get to the new Central Elementary. So the project is scheduled, is actually out for bidding right now. We'll bid in early December, and that's to keep in line with the bond issuances associated with the project. And then looking at spring utility and summer road construction, all in keeping with opening the project in August of 2025, in line with the school opening of the new Central Elementary.
We've been talking about Fordyce for a while. Any questions for Kevin about the specific road or?
Yes, are you going to replace the sidewalks on Fordyce from Grant to Park on the south side?
From Grant to Park, yes. Okay. On the south side, from Grant to Park, we will be replacing the sidewalks on the south side, okay, new curbs on both sides, asphalt wedge and leveling, and then a 10-foot multi-use path on the north side.
It's just not a total reconstruction in that section.
But
But it'll look like it.
Originally, the south side sidewalk wasn't going to be replaced.
Originally, we were not, and
We
we did
added that
not
in.
want to leave the project sort of half-finished, if you will.
Yep, we added that in. Yep.
I should also clarify, west of Park Street, along the Armory there, we've already got new sidewalks on the south side. In fact, the sidewalks on the north side are fairly new as well, so those are widened. Even the sidewalk across the bridge is widened, but no pavement work on that section, that one block there.
Any other questions? Rob, read the resolution.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Resolution 2023-39 is a resolution that approves the issuance of bonds for the City of Lebanon Stormwater District. This is similar to what you've seen a couple years ago when we came before you. As we were talking about earlier in another project, the stormwater now reports up to the Board of Works. We've had several public hearings at the Board of Works already that approved this, and this is the council's approval of that action. So again, the Board of Public Works and Safety is the governing body of the Department of Water Management of the City of Lebanon, and on November 13, 2023, adopted a resolution, the bond resolution, authorizing the issuance of bonds for the Stormwater District of the city in one or more series in an amount not to exceed $9,500,000 to pay for the cost of acquisition, construction of certain stormwater drainage, sewer improvements along Fordyce Road between East Street, John Bart Road, together with any other related improvements and equipment. This council, as the fiscal body of the city, now desires to approve the issuance of the bonds as required by Indiana law. Therefore, be it resolved, this council approves the issuance of the bonds of the district in one or more series, again in an amount not to exceed $9,500,000. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption.
Thank you, Rob. So again, just to clarify too, so this is being issued through the stormwater utility. So that's kind of just the process. So again, obviously the city council oversees that, but this has been, went through the approvals at the Board of Works / Stormwater Board, but it's being funded through the stormwater utility, not through property tax. So just wanted to clarify that as well. So any further discussion, questions, comments from council? Okay. We'll entertain a motion then concerning Resolution 2023-39.
I'll make a motion, we approve Resolution 2023-39.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Second from Sierra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, council. 39 is the correct number. Yeah, sorry, I misspoke earlier, I think. My bad. Okay, let's see here. All right, next will be ordinance 2023-45. So there's several of these here. So Scott, if you just want to, or I'll have Ben come up first. Let Ben present first, and then we'll have you, Scott, come up.
So this will be a similar process to what we just went through a couple months ago. We have a series of annexations associated with the LEAP district. There are actually 6 this time rather than the 12 or 14 or whatever it was we had the last
20?
time.
I feel like 20.
So this will be slightly quicker than the last time. This is very similar to the last time, is filling in some of the holes in and around the LEAP district as the IEDC gains control of the properties, or they have additional properties under control. So that's what we'll be doing here tonight. These are all, again, like the others, 100% voluntary annexations. They went to the Plan Commission last week for consideration of zoning to assign to those properties. And as I go through each one individually, I'll indicate what that recommendation was from the Plan Commission to the council. And then again, procedurally, I'll go through all of the 6 all at once here. But then we'll need to go through each one of these individually. There is an Indiana Code required public hearing that we'll need to do tonight for each one of these 6. And then obviously Rob will need to do the reading as well, so we'll do those individually, but I'll kind of run through all 6 of them here pretty quickly for you, and then I'll turn it over to Olivia if she wants to add anything from the IEDC as it relates to these as well. So if they want to go ahead and pull the screen up here, I'll just go through these here real quick. Again, this is 6 different annexations. It's a total of 8 parcels and about a little over 37 acres total. This kind of gives you an idea where they are in the grander perspective of the LEAP district. You've got one of them at the far north, and then a handful of them right in the middle of the LEAP district, and then one out to the southwest. And then I'll go through each one of these individually so you can see a little bit better. Phase 20 is a single parcel that you see here. It is Let me get my notes out here. It is 1.67 acres. It's located on the west side of 150, as you see indicated here by the number 20 in red, and it's just approximately 400 feet north of 300 North. The actual address is 3040 North 150 West. And so that's Phase 20. It's a 1.67 acre parcel. This one comes to you with a recommendation by a vote of 8-0 from the Plan Commission for the LEAP Lebanon PUD zoning district classification for that parcel. Phase 21 is a single parcel. Again, it's a 5-acre parcel that you see shown here. It is just a little bit southwest of the intersection of 150 and 300 North. It does not front on a road, so it's a landlocked parcel. Again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation. It comes to you with a recommendation from the Plan Commission by a vote of 8-0 for the LEAP Lebanon PUD zoning district classification. Phase 22 is a collection of 3 parcels you see indicated in the center of the screen here. It's a total of a little over 22 acres. It's located on the west side of 150 West, approximately 1,600 feet south of 300 North. It's right at the curve there in 150 and 375. This comes to you with a recommendation from the Plan Commission by an 8-0 vote for the LEAP Lebanon PUD zoning district as well. Phase 23, again, a single parcel here. It's about a half acre. It is located on the east side of US 52, just south of the intersection with 250 North. Again, it's indicated here by this small little purple triangle that you see represented here on the screen. This one also comes to you from the Plan Commission with a recommendation by an 8-0 vote for the LEAP Lebanon PUD zoning district zoning classification as part of the annexation. Phase 24 is a single parcel. It's a little over 6 acres. It is located on the north side of State Road 32, about 2,700 feet west of North 325 West. The actual address is 3760 West State Road 32. This parcel, again, is located in the LEAP district, and the Plan Commission reviewed and recommended by an 8-0 vote the LEAP Lebanon PUD zoning district for this annexation territory. And finally, this is actually going back to Phase 19 annexation. This property is at the far north end of the LEAP district, and it's actually outside of the concept plan for the LEAP district and outside of our comprehensive plan designation for the LEAP district. So this is a little over 1.5 acre parcel. Again, at the north, it's at the northeast corner of 450 North and 150 West. Because of the fact that it is not located within the concept planning area for the LEAP district and outside of our comprehensive plan designation for the LEAP district, we have, the Plan Commission has forwarded a recommendation by an 8-0 vote for the single-family residential SF zoning classification for this parcel. And so that's a quick overview of those 6 annexations. I mentioned procedurally tonight, we'll also hold the public hearing for each one of these. But again, I'll turn it over to Olivia to give you just a quick overview, similar to what you've probably seen before. Oops,
Ben, let me see if there's any questions from council.
Yeah, any questions for me, I guess, before I turn over to Olivia?
Any questions for Ben from council concerning these annexations?
No, sir.
All good.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Rangaswamy, and I am outside counsel for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. On the screen, there we go, is the overall LEAP district concept plan. This is the same version you all saw in the last round of annexation. This includes parcels that the IEDC currently owns, has under control, and currently does not have under control and may not control. There are approximately 6,700 acres that have been incorporated into the city of Lebanon and zoned for the planned unit development. An additional 600 acres have been zoned general industrial use and conveyed to Eli Lilly for their development on the north end of the LEAP district. With respect to the Phase 19 annexation, or I guess I'll go back, today we're proposing to add approximately 36 acres to the planned unit development. Those are comprised of the annexation phases 20 through 24. With respect to the Phase 19 annexation, which, as Ben said, is immediately north of the Eli Lilly site, This parcel was intentionally excluded from the concept plan as this property was purchased to facilitate the expansion and reconstruction of North Witt Road and West County Road 450 North. And we don't anticipate this parcel would be a part of the LEAP district and believe that the default zoning is appropriate for this property. The remaining annexation areas, phases 20 through 24, are gap fillers in the LEAP district. And we are proposing that these areas be added to the PUD. And with that, are there any questions for me at this time?
Any questions for Olivia for council?
All right, thank you.
Olivia, are there additional proposed, or we think this is kind of the last round for the near future?
Yeah, there will be future annexations as more land comes under contract, but for now, I can't identify a specific timeline. But
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, with that then, I'll have Rob read ordinance 2023-45, which is phase 20.
Yep, thank you, Mayor, Council. There's a lot here in all these, and they're very similar, so I'll try to hit the highlights, and then we'll have a public hearing. Ordinance 2023-45, again, is the LEAP Phase 20 annexation, and this consists of approximately 1.67 acres. It's described in Exhibits A and B, and again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation. As Ben indicated, the Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held its regular meeting on November 20th and forwarded its docket 2384 to this council with a favorable recommendation 8-0 to assign the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development District zoning classification. This council will hold a public hearing. It will adopt a fiscal plan, and it has determined that it satisfies the contiguity requirements set forth in Exhibit E, or C. Therefore, this council finds as follows: the annexation area described in Exhibits A and B is eligible for annexation and declared annexed in and a part of the city of Lebanon. It satisfies the contiguity requirements. It will be assigned, again, Council District 3, as well as the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development Zoning District, and it will be in full force and effect immediately upon its passage and any applicable waiting periods.
Thank you, Rob. Ordinance in red, so this time I'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-45. If you need public comment, please step forward, station here for the record, and keep comments to 3 minutes if possible. Seeing no sudden movements, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 2023-45. Council will take that ordinance up for second reading at our next meeting, which will be December 11th at 7:15 p.m. Unless there's any further discussion from council?
No, sir.
Okay. Next will be ordinance 2023-46.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this ordinance 2023-46, LEAP Phase 21 annexation comprises approximately 5 acres described in Exhibits A and B. And again, it's 100% voluntary annexation. And it satisfies the contiguity requirements. The Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held on November 20th, 2023, its meeting, forwarded docket 2385 to this council with a favorable recommendation 8-0 to assign the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development Zoning Classification. We will hold a public hearing. This council will hold a public hearing and adopt a fiscal plan, and it has determined after consideration it satisfies the contiguity requirements set forth in Exhibit C. And therefore, this council finds, again, that this annexed area described in Exhibit A and B is declared annexed into and a part of the city of Lebanon. It satisfies the contiguity requirements. It will have Council District 3, and again have the LEAP Planned Unit Development District zoning classification and be in full force and effect upon its passage and any applicable waiting periods.
Okay, thank you, Rob. This time I'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-46. If you need public comment, please step forward, state your name for the record, and keep comments to 3 minutes if possible. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 2023-46. Any discussion, comments from council? Okay. Okay, we'll take that for our second reading at December 11th at 7:15 PM. All right, next will be ordinance 2023-47. Council to consider LEAP Phase 22.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This ordinance contains approximately 22.45 acres described in Exhibits A and B. And again, it's 100% voluntary annexation. It also, the Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held at its meeting on November 20th and forwarded docket 2386 to this council with a favorable recommendation 8-0 to assign the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development Zoning Classification. There will be a public hearing on this ordinance, as well as the council will consider a fiscal plan. And it also determines that this annexation satisfies the contiguity requirements set forth in Exhibit C. Therefore, this council finds as follows: the annexation area described in Exhibits A and B is eligible for annexation and hereby declared annexed into and a part of the city of Lebanon. Also, again, as I indicated, satisfies contiguity requirements, will be assigned Council District 3, and it will have the LEAP Innovation Plan Unit Development District zoning classification and be in full force and effect upon passage by this council in any applicable waiting periods.
Okay, thank you, Rob. This time, I'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-48. Any public comment? Sorry, 47. Sorry, 47. Any public comment, please step forward, state your name for the record, and keep comments to 3 minutes if possible. Seeing none, close the public hearing on ordinance 2023-47. Council will take that up for second reading on December 11th at 7:15 PM. All right, next will be ordinance 2023-48, phase 23.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance comprises approximately 0.46 acres described in Exhibits A and B, and again is 100% voluntary annexation. The Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held during its meeting on November 20th, 2023, and forwarded docket 2387 to this council with a favorable recommendation 8-0 to assign the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development Zoning Classification. There will be a public hearing, and this council will consider and adopt a fiscal plan, and it has determined that this area satisfies the contiguity requirements described in Exhibit C. Therefore, this council finds that the annexation area described in Exhibits A and B is declared annexed into and a part of the city of Lebanon. It also satisfies the contiguity requirements, and it will be assigned Council District 3, as well as the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development Zoning Classification, and will be in full force and effect upon its passage and any applicable waiting periods.
Rob, at this time, open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-48. Any public comment, please come forward, state your name for the record, and keep comments to 3 minutes if possible. Chief, you good? No? Good. Nobody? Okay. All right, we'll close the public hearing then on ordinance 2023-48. Council will take that up for second reading at our December 11th meeting at 7:15 PM. All right, next will be ordinance 2023-49, phase 24.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor, Council. This comprises approximately 6.24 acres described in Exhibits A and B. Again, is 100% voluntary annexation. The Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission held on November 20th, 2023, its meeting, forwarded docket 2388 to this council with a favorable recommendation 8-0 to assign the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit zoning classification. This council will hold a public hearing and consider a fiscal plan and adopt it, and this council determines the contiguity requirements set forth in Exhibit C are satisfied. Therefore, this council finds that the annexed areas described in Exhibits A and B are declared annexed into and a part of the city of Lebanon. Contiguity requirements are satisfied, and this area will be assigned Council District 3, and also the LEAP Innovation District Plan Unit Development Zoning Classification will be in full force and effect upon passage by this council and any applicable waiting periods.
Thank you, Rob. We'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-49. Any public comment, please come forward, state your name for the record, and keep comments to 3 minutes if possible. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 2023-49. Council take that up for second reading at our next meeting, December 11th at 7:15 PM. All right, and finally here, ordinance 2023-50, Phase 19.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor Council. This comprises approximately 1.53 acres described in Exhibits A and B, and again is 100% voluntary annexation. On November 20th, the Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission forwarded docket 2389 to this council with a favorable recommendation to 8-0 to assign single-family residential zoning classification to this area. A public hearing will be held, and this council will consider and adopt a fiscal plan, and it has determined that this area satisfies the contiguity requirements set forth in Exhibit C. So therefore, this council finds that the annexation area, again described in Exhibits A and B, is annexed into the city and declared a part thereof. It also satisfies the contiguity requirements, will be assigned Council District 3, and it is again assigned single-family residential zoning classification and will be in full force and effect upon passage by this council in any applicable waiting periods.
Thank you, Rob. All right, and we'll open the public hearing on ordinance 2023-50. If there's any public comment, please come forward, state your name for the record, and keep comments for 3 minutes if possible. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on ordinance 2023-50. We'll take that up for second reading on, you guessed it, December 11th at 7:15 PM. All right, that concludes those ordinances. Any final comments, discussion from council on those? Any final comments from IEDC or Kent? You guys all good? Okay. All right, next up then will be Resolution 2023-32, which is additional appropriation for the Parks Department. I guess I should say 32 and 33, they're just fuel additional appropriations. We ran those lines maybe a little tighter than we needed to. And so we're just strictly just fuel additional appropriations for those. So, Kelsey, anything you need to say on that? Explain it all? Pretty straightforward, yep. Make sure our parks trucks and our fire engines have gas. I think it'd be important. So with that, I'll have Rob read Resolution 2023-32.
Thank you, Mayor Council. This, again, is for an additional appropriation, and it has been determined it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Therefore, be it resolved after a public hearing that this council finds that Resolution 2023-32 is appropriate to fund for Parks gasoline, and it will be out of Fund 2204 in the amount of $10,000.
Rob? At this time, then, I open the public hearing on Resolution 2023-32. Any public comment, please come forward, state your name for the record. Keep the comments 3 minutes if possible. Okay. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on Resolution 2023-32. Discussion from council?
No, sir. I make a motion we approve Resolution 2023.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, council. John thanks you as well.
Welcome.
All right, next will be Resolution 2023-33. This is for the Lebanon Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor Council. Again, whereas it's been determined it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Therefore, be it resolved, Resolution 2023-33 is to appropriate funds for fire gasoline in the amount of $14,000 in Fund 1101, and a public hearing is required for this too.
Rob, we'll open the public hearing on Resolution 2023-33. If you have any public comments, please come forward, state your name for the record. Keep comments 3 minutes if possible. Chief, you okay with giving the firefighters gas for their engines? They need it. They need it? Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, I'll close the public hearing on Resolution 2023-33. Discussion from council? Yeah, would entertain a motion?
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 2023-33.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Sierra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, council. All right, and finally, Resolution 2023-34. This is an additional appropriation for the Lebanon Police Department. Chief, since you're here, you want to explain why we're doing this?
Not me.
The answer is no.
I'm serious. Kelsey.
Well, speaking as the police department liaison, we got bad pipes, and we got to fix them.
No, this is pension.
Oh, this is the pension thing?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not quite there yet, the pipes.
Oh, okay.
That's coming, that's coming.
better-
I thought that was for this one.
All right, fine, I'll explain it, chief, since you don't want to explain it.
Better vote for that.
So, every year, whenever we budget for our police pension, right, it's a guess based on kind of what our actuary gives, and it's kind of our best guess. Sometimes there's death benefits or things that kind of throw that out of whack, so that's kind of why we're running short. I think we had a passing of someone, right, so there's probably a death benefit paid out, more than expected, maybe. So that's why we're running short on this line. So that's the reason for the adjustment for the pension line for the police. So probably didn't know we were doing this for, did you, Chief? You didn't even know, did you? No.
Well, good, that makes two of us.
Okay, all right. Rob, you read it, please?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2023-34 is a resolution for additional appropriations for the police pension in the amount of $15,000 to be paid out of Fund 8802 payroll after a public hearing.
And also, this is for our pre-77 fund, right? So this is when the city would actually fund our own pension before it's a state pension. So a lot of these are, actually all these are retirees or spouses of retired LPD, right? So it's pre-77 individuals.
As a city police pensioner, but I'm not I'm in the 77.
You're in the 77 fund,
So
correct,
there's
yes.
no issue with me voting on that.
Correct, yeah.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, this is, and again, this is not a, this is just a payout.
Budget thing,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to pay it, so. Yeah. So,
No, not yet.
at this time, then I'll open the public hearing on Resolution 2023-34. If you have any public comments, please come forward, state your name for the record. Key comments, 3 minutes if possible. I'd like to hear a reason why you guys think a widow shouldn't get a death benefit. Happy to hear it. No? Didn't think so. Okay, we'll close the public hearing then on Resolution 2023-34. Discussion from council. Will you entertain a motion?
Motion we approve resolution 2023-34.
Motion
second.
to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, council. Again, know it was a long night. Appreciate all of the discussion here tonight. Is there any other new business from council?
Actually, I have comments when we're done.
Well, this would be the time to then do.
Okay.
Yep.
Are we going to
discussion.
pay the claims?
Well,
Okay.
you can make a motion and we can do discussion. That's fine too.
Okay. The December 11th meeting will be our last?
Correct.
Unless something crazy happens?
Pending, there's no other scheduled meetings. I don't think there's a need for any special meetings, but assuming that will be the final meeting of the year, yes.
Okay. Well, I realize, looking at my schedule, I won't be here. What that means is, this is my final council meeting. So, I was going to prepare a long speech with, fabulous words that'll be carved over the door of the city building, and that's not going to happen.
podium?
No. I did just want to say that I have been involved in boards on the city, township, and county level for over 20 years. I've never been off of a board, and January 1 I will be. I'm actually looking forward to a little time off. But I will say this last 4 years has been extremely rewarding. I do think we were members of a board during probably one of the most noteworthy changes, directions, our city, probably since the railroad got here. Hopefully, we made all the right decisions. I know that every one of us agonized a lot over these decisions, but I think we went the right direction. And I will say that this has been one of the most interesting councils in terms of we've disagreed over a lot of things, but it never got personal. And that's the way it should be. We've got differing opinions, and sometimes we feel strongly about that, and we express them, but I feel like I'm friends with every one of you. So thank you very much. Mayor Gentry, thank you for everything you've done when I was council president. When LEAP suddenly showed up on the radar, I remember sitting in your office going, this is crazy, this is crazy. So it's been an interesting ride, but I want to thank you. And Tanya, you look so much younger. But I would like to thank Tanya Thayer for being our clerk treasurer and all the assistance she's given me. So again, this will be, unless something crazy happens, this will probably be my last council meeting for a while. But I'm like a bad penny, you never know where I'll turn up again. So again, thank you so very much.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
Well said.
I say it's been a pleasure working with you.
Yes, absolutely. You'll be missed.
Brent. Any other announcements? You wanted to make a motion?
Well, let's pay the claims. I make a motion, we pay the claims.
Motion to pay the claims, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
And for my final council meeting for this session, I make a motion that we adjourn.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Our next meeting will be December 11th at 7:15 PM. We are adjourned.